Last time on Hakai, now a god of destruction, Goku ventured to Sadala to get a feel for the Universe 6 Saiyan planet. There, he met Krista, the King of Sadala. After a quick spar, we learned two things. The Saiyan King is a force to be trifled with, and an evil force resides within Goku as he tries to master his new powers. Though the King would take the win, it's worth noting that it's highly likely it's only because our hero is weakened in his new state. As this goes on, what are Frieza and Cooler up to after capturing Janemba in their attempt to form an ancient god to overthrow the current order?
This is part 6 of Dragon Ball Hakai Full Color Edition. Catch up with parts 1 to 5 and the history of Beerus special using the links below.
In the vastness of space, more or less lost to anyone outside themselves, the Frost Demons vigorously keep up their quest for power. Inside, Cooler mocks his sibling that it seems these never-ending training sessions are becoming too harsh for him. Isn't he getting a little worried? After all, he'll surpass him at this rate. Wouldn't that be quite a disappointment? But on the contrary, Frieza's getting more and more excited the further they push themselves. The limit to their abilities is presently unknown. And after all, the stronger Cooler gets, the more intense their exercises are going to become. So Frieza himself will grow stronger as well, which means those who oppose him will be mere insects in his path. That's when Berry Blue calls out to him over the PA. Displaying her image on a holo monitor, she announces to both demons that they've almost reached their next destination. This gives us our first good look at the reinforced part of the ship designed to withstand their training. While it's not very spacious, it likely has about the same capabilities as Dr. Brief's gravity chamber. Cooler shoots his partner a glance to beckon if he should gather his soldiers. After all, the Armor Squadron, despite that one hiccup where they really should have died, did quite well against those demons in the Makai world. However, there's no need. They're just going to ask that Zuno fellow some questions. On top of that, there's no reason to spend much time at the stop as there is still much to do. Regarding Cooler's men, there's nothing on this planet that could be a threat to any of them. On Zuno's planet, Frieza's ship touches down as the first wave of Frieza Force soldiers form on either side of the Frost Demons. Upon taking a few steps, something alarms Cooler. He questions his brother if he feels that. And he does. There's a very powerful aura here. Something is definitely off and they need to remain vigilant. Previously, there were no formidable warriors on this world. So this could mean that Zuno has finally recruited a proper guardian, or someone else has come here to siphon information out of him. Also, this confirms both villains can now sense ki, which was highly speculated for Frieza already in the series. As the pair make their way into the palace, they bulk at the sight before them, aghast at who has done this. They enter to find a slaughter. Blood covers the walls as several servants lie motionless on the floor. Cautiously scoping out the place, a figure rounds the corner into Cooler's line of sight. He tells Frieza to look. Before them is Zuno himself, though he too doesn't move and is in the jowls of a beast that appears to be half lion, half dragon. On top of him, a man whose back faces him. As the three of them catch each other's gaze, Frieza can't figure out what this guy's deal is. His mere presence makes his entire body feel heavy. He radiates an evil, cold, wicked vibration. Concerned, his sibling inquires if he thinks they can take him, but he's not sure. He's never felt such intense pressure before. This is no ordinary foe, and without a doubt, he's one of the most ruthless, bloodthirsty forces in all the multiverse. When it spouts out,
"Oh, my darling, you don't have to be frightened of me. I'm not here for you, just this cute little fatty."
What's in the? Which isn't quite the personality they were expecting. With a wave and a wink, the creature cheerfully bids them goodbye, pulling out a Yu-Gi-Oh of some kind. A magic circle appears on the ground, which is used as a portal for the duo to escape through. Frieza gasps out to his brother that he got away. Why didn't he do anything? And, well, it's because he didn't want to. on an orbiting satellite just off the planet. A mysterious stranger believes that if Zuno is one of their targets, that must mean the Nexus. But is he following the Ogre or the Frost Demons? And who is this man, and what are his purposes? Away, the Super Dragon Balls have been gathered at an undisclosed location. But the dragon isn't summoned. The orbs instead explode. A woman who appears to be a New Age Tuffle cackles that she's so glad she's able to blow things up again, especially these cursed relics. One can assume that by this statement, she could have been imprisoned for an extended duration and have a grudge against the Dragon Balls. But of course, this is merely fluffy speculation. Nearby, 3 cloaked figures congratulate her on a job well done, name-dropping Nurse Tyra. With this, Zalama's magic will no longer carry any power and will be completely absent from this realm. This includes all of the artifacts which are derived from him, which means... Getting only a glimpse of the shadowy quartet, we can only guess what their intentions are. While a world without the Dragon Balls, of any kind, including ours on Earth, may at first seem to have nefarious purposes, only time will tell. What will this new era, where death is permanent, entail? On Planet Cereal, we find Granola making his way home. However, it must be noted that this is more or less not the Granola we're accustomed to in Super, and acts as a brand new introduction for the character. He hasn't made any wishes to gain ultimate strength or anything. He storms in shouting obscenities and frustration. Already in-house, Minato questions the young man what it is that bothers him. And during his last job, he discovered that Monster Frieza is still alive after all these years. The rumors surrounding his death must have been nothing more than hearsay. Instantly putting his elder in a state of panic, he warns Granola, no matter what, he can't even think about doing anything stupid. He knows how he feels, but if he confronts the Emperor, he will undoubtedly be killed. But he can't simply let him go unpunished. He needs to pay for what he's done. Cretins like him don't deserve to roam the universe free as they will. Just like the Saiyans. Just then, the rippling effects of destroying the Super Dragon Balls begins to make itself known. As the two of them wonder what's going on. When it turns to stone, Granola quickly saunters over to inspect what's happened. He doesn't understand. This has never happened before. And for some reason, he feels something terrible. On Namek, the village elder, Mori if memory serves, is seen in deep thought about something. Beads of sweat trickle down his face as a variety of emotions overcome him. As one of his villagers calls out to him, breaking his concentration. Panicking, he informs him that the Dragon Balls, they're not working! They've turned to stone as if they were made inactive by a wish, but no such event took place. Mori remains silent, looking inside himself at what could be going on. And like Granola, he too has a bad feeling. On Earth at the lookout, Popo notices Dende is rattled by something unspoken. His focus is so intense, he doesn't even hear his friend speak. He feels that the Dragon Balls are no longer active. He also senses that he has lost something, but he can't explain it. Using telepathy, he questions his outer-worldly counterpart if he also feels it. And on the other side of the planet, Piccolo is meditating on a butte outside of his house. He too knows something's wrong. He can't explain it either, but something bad is definitely about to happen. He knows this pattern all too well by now. In the reaches of space, we rejoin the ogre who kidnapped Zuno, who, predictably, is in league with the 4 individuals who destroyed the Super Dragon Balls. Gazing upon the debris, he figures he already missed the fireworks show. What a bummer. One of the shadowy figures remarks the ogre did good. Tyra sneers that without Zalama's power and knowledge, they won't be able to fight him. As another figure calls out that today was a great victory, but they're not going to make the mistake as last time and underestimate him again. They need to get going now before they get here and try to stop him. Again, leaving us with more questions than answers. But it seems these immensely powerful warriors have had a back-and-forth feud going with another group that's even more formidable. Fighters that make even the modern Frieza cower in fear. few hours later, a door opens as someone enters the room. With a tapping on the floor, another already present asks, "How was it, Master?" We zoom out to see a group of people sitting at a large table. The same voice as before can tell just by looking at his face that things had to have gone south, imploring him to speak up on the matter and what the situation is. Said Master replies that it seems they were tricked. The Celestial Mages, rival to the Celestial Guardians, did not return to their realm as expected. They instead went to Zuno's planet and kidnapped the titular Soothsayer. Rajan, the great mage of invocations, was the one who took him, the creature we've been referring to as the Ogre. They also managed to gather and destroy the Super Dragon Balls. A spiky-haired gentleman mocks it's like they say, "I told you so," prompting the so-called Master to spout that he did what he is able to. The Guardians were also aware of the goings-on, but without confirmation that the enemies had invaded Zeno's kingdom, they could not take more serious measures. Until the Omni King himself is threatened, the rules are set in stone. Besides, this is no time for accusations and condescending remarks. The situation is extremely serious. Zuno, one of the most valuable sources of information in the entire kingdom of Zeno, has been captured by the enemy, and the most powerful fountain of magic in the entire realm has been destroyed. Things may seem calm at a distance, but this has the potential to become catastrophic. When Spikes quips if he knows who kidnapped Zuno, it means he had to have seen it happening. Why didn't he simply try to stop Rajan? He has more than enough power to stop her. Which, first things first, apparently that ogre's a girl. But the Master states that it seems like his counterpart's primitive Saiyan blood speaks louder than his wisdom, even after all of these years. He knows very well that a battle between him and a Celestial Mage could destroy all of Universe 7. He could never start a battle like that without permission for the gods of said universe. Above all, the Order must stay intact and he plans to respect this ideology. Causing the Saiyan to retort, so instead he chose to lose Zuno before breaking a few rules? He himself thinks he would choose primitive blood rather than what he must believe his so-called wisdom is. This finally causes the third person in the room to interject. He reminds a leader of the Celestial Guardians cannot break rules like this. Informing the Master he did well. Master Anson, who was slain in the first video of this series, would have done the same. But about Janemba, did he manage to find anything out about what happened to him? Was it the doing of the Celestial Mages as expected? Moving to take his seat at the head of the table, he announces he did discover something rather curious. He thought the silence of the Guardians who were appointed to protect him was pretty strange. Ginger, Nikki, and Sancho seemed quite reliable for this position. However, upon venturing to the Makai world of the 7th universe, he was greeted only by destruction and their dead bodies. They were massacred. By the looks of it, they were no match for whoever did this. So, seeking answers, he decided to give Zuno a visit to find out if it was the Celestial Mages who had done this, as obvious as it seemed at the time. It turns out that his skepticism was rather fortunate. By irony of fate, the Theevs of Janemba's cocoon were there. They appeared to be an intergalactic duo in control of a nomadic army, the mortal Frieza and another by the name of Cooler. Apparently, they had also traveled there to seek Zuno's wisdom. It seemed pretty evident they were not in league with the mages. Though, this does little to quell Spike's anger. He shouts out why he didn't at least recapture Janemba. It would have been an easy task for him. Instead of nipping all of this at the bud, he's allowing the enemy to gain unnecessary vital ground. But he's reminded yet again, rules are rules. Mortals, good or bad, are still citizens of the universe. Master continues, and they, as Celestial Guardians, are the mediators of this realm. They can't bother them as they please without their god's permission. It would be an offense. His opposition grits his teeth that these rules are ridiculous. He doesn't think they should be following them so religiously, causing the leader to spout out that this is why he himself is the master, and he is not. But since taking his post as such, Mitch replied, he can see only his failures. And if that's the case, the sitting master would like to be regaled with all the victories of, quote, His Highness. Causing the Saiyan to power up in a bout of anger, at last revealing his face. While at first it seemed this could have wildly been King Vegeta, it's someone else entirely. does this, the third wheel also powers up, taking this as an affront to their leader. He condemns that he doesn't think it's very suitable for him to raise his ki in front of their master like this. All the two have a brief standoff. Better judgment prevails and the Saiyan controls himself. Although the intense emotions can be understood, it would be best if they spoke about solutions, rather than citing only criticisms. The more level-headed Guardian questions their master what they should do from now on. Though if he may make a suggestion, he believes it's no longer time to be discreet. They need to open the game to the kingdom of Zeno, so the appropriate measures can be taken. The master agrees. They should alert the authorities right away. Zuno's kidnapping and the destruction of the Super Dragon Balls can't mean anything but a declaration of war, at last confirming PIKKON as the master, with the powers that be meddling to rid this reality of Zalama's magic, and succeeding. What could their intentions possibly be? Do they merely seek power over the Celestial Guardians, control over the multiverse itself, or is this a problem rooted much closer to home and our heroes than it appears? Meanwhile, in the 7th universe. Back with our old pals, Beerus and Whis more or less sit around in a huff. The Angel mutters how Vegeta's been somewhere particular for 2 weeks now, as the Oracle Fish slumbers away. The Destroyer himself claims he hadn't noticed, at least continuing to feign disinterest in the Saiyans. The Angel elaborates how at this very moment, the oxygen aura he casted on him might have already ended. If he hasn't come back yet, he may be in a critical state, or worse. His eternal student scoffs at this. Who cares? He's just a stupid fool after all. He got so jealous after Goku became a god of destruction, and got all sorts of new powers that quickly outmatched anything Vegeta himself could dish out. He decided he had to go about this route in his training. When we learn exactly where he's gone, to a realm called the Anti-Life Dimension, the most deadly atmosphere that can exist in the universe. The place where all the garbage that the universe wants to discard to avoid its own self-destruction is sent. It's so bad that even the Destroyers themselves avoid it at all cost, feeling uneasy in the face of the adversity such an environment possesses. Vegeta went there 2 weeks ago. With a sly grin, we suggest that he believes Beerus is a bit anxious. After all, Vegeta spent way more time there than he did his first time. Who tells him to stop talking nonsense? That doesn't mean anything. The first time he went there was 1,000,000 years ago. Suddenly, the Oracle Fish starts shouting out, "Death! Lots of death!" Although it can't hear him, Beerus angrily shouts to know what he's babbling about over there, rallying for the fish to explain himself. It continues on. Enemies. Very strong enemies. A lot of death. The universes are in danger. The Destroyer hops over to the Oracle to get a better understanding of what he's saying. As another unexpected event takes place. The sky fills with thunderous lightning and dark, heavy clouds. Almost immediately after, a tornado touches down. Beerus can sense a strong energy gathering overhead. If this keeps up, leaving his thoughts to be inferred, he trembles while telling Whis that if that thing spreads, the universe is going to. But the Angel offers to interfere before such a thing can even begin to develop. Albeit with a little drama. It turns out it was only Vegeta making his way back from the Anti-Life Dimension. And seemingly just in time. Beerus wonders if this means he must have destroyed that entire dimension. And as outlandish as it may seem, the Angel believes that it seems so. Cheeto really has no limits. His attendant informs him that he's going to go take care of Vegeta. Beerus himself should probably leave or else he's going to be late for the meeting. Which he totally forgot about. The meeting of the gods. Sometime later, using his abilities, Whis does his best to revitalize the prince. He was so depleted of energy, he only had about 5% of his ki remaining. Most of his bones were broken and his organs were severely damaged. If it wasn't for Whis' aid, he would have been dead in minutes. All because of this desire to become the strongest. Mortals are fascinating creatures. As his staff begins to vibrate, a call. Something must have happened. But who could it be? At the same time, in Universe 6, we rejoin Goku, who's seen training with Kashin or a similar material. He implores Vados to bring it on! Using the Hakai, he's able to make quick work of the blocks, though not without minor struggle. After a few minutes pass, Goku gets cleaned up and takes a seat, planning to continue his destroyer education. Vados goes on to explain, as she told her student before, there are different ways one can use the Hakai, one of which is like an explosion. It can also turn your target to dust or make them completely disappear. In the last 2 months Goku's been training here, he's mastered each way of using the Hakai. It's actually really impressive. It took Mr. Champa around an entire year to do it. Excited, our hero thanks his instructor. Her training has been awesome. However, there's something he needs to know. The essence of energy is destruction, hence the name. Which reminds him, she said there are differences between the Hakai and destruction energy, but he still doesn't fully understand it. As she explained before, the energy of destruction is just a form of energy, while the Hakai is a product of this energy. It's like his Kamehameha, which is a technique derived from Goku's ki energy. In other words, energy of destruction is the tree, and the Hakai is the fruit it bears. The same concept applies for Goku's regular ki. Well, that's used for everything from flying and moving faster. It's also used for a variety of ki-based attacks. Like regular ki, energy of destruction also goes on to be other things, Hakai being one of them. There's also like what Mr. Vegeta and Mr. Top do. Since neither are technically an official destroyer, they can only use a simulation energy of destruction that doesn't compare to the real thing at all. It's really nothing when standing against the genuine energy of destruction that true Hakaishins have. Little mesmerized, our hero believes he's kind of beginning to understand. But he still doesn't get why energy of destruction is so different from his normal ki, and why it makes him feel, well, bad when using it. It's also really hard to control. Indeed, destruction energy and common ki are very different. They're also different from divine ki or the simulation destruction ki that some warriors are able to produce. That's because the real destruction energy is a living energy. But a living energy? What does that even mean? Vados further elaborates that after being inserted into a host, the destruction energy takes the shape of a spiritual being. It's like if the energy had its own consciousness and will. What she means, since Goku has received his own destruction energy, it is now in his body. Because of this, a new being has begun living inside him. But does this mean there's like a ghost inside of him? Though, and not any more comforting, demon would be more accurate, since the destruction energy is purely that, destruction and negativity. This is why he feels bad when using it. And what's worse, that being in Goku's body also wants to conquer Goku himself. Our hero begins to speculate that this must have been what happened when fighting against the King of Sadala, wasn't it? Which was exactly the case. To keep the destruction energy under control, his body subconsciously uses his normal ki. The more he can control his destruction energy, the more he needs his ki to keep it under control. It acts as a fine balance. In his fight against King Krista, he had less control of his destruction energy. Ergo, he could only use a small percentage of his total power. And as he pressed Goku, Goku used a bit more than he should have, and it caused him to lose control and become possessed. The Saiyan starts to understand more and more, but he's getting better controlling it since that fight. That means he can use more of his new powers, doesn't it? And that's correct, much more. When he fought against the king, The overall power he could access was far less than what he could when fighting Jiren in the tournament, for instance. But now, the power Goku can use without losing control is larger than the one he had before becoming a god of destruction. If he were to take on Krista again, Vados has little doubt that this time he would arise the victor. And to be honest, she thinks he's the 5th most powerful god of destruction in the multiverse. All stuff Goku is happy to hear. He wants to get even stronger though, so he asks if they can keep training. As much of a relief it is that this new destroyer is so much different than Champa, Vados is afraid that her student has forgotten about the meeting of the gods. It's going to begin very soon. They better get going or else he'll be late. Starring him back to reality. Sounding a bit familiar, he totally forgot about that. And truth be told, he doesn't really want to go. He doesn't want to wear those silly clothes and doesn't even know what to do when he gets there. The angel goes on how the gods gathered to do many things. One of them being the discussion of important matters throughout the universes. They exchange ideas and experiences among other things. But in reality, the angels don't get to attend these meetings to let them enjoy themselves, usually resulting in them playing foolish games the entire time. Which doesn't sound all too bad to the Saiyan. If that's the case, maybe he can fight someone over there. Changing his tune altogether, he's ready to go. That's when she gets an unexpected call, just like Whis. What could be going on that requires the attention of multiple angels? She decides that since he doesn't know how to get to the location of the meeting, she'll just have to take him there as fast as she can. But she has to see the Grand Priest immediately. Between each of the 12 universes, there's a world that acts as a neutral base. It's a very resistant planet, more so than even the Kaioshin or Hakaishin planets. The meetings of the destruction gods take place on these celestial bodies. Touching down, Helez taunts Liquor to just give up. She's the best shooter in all 12 universes. Though he gives it back claiming, "For now, Helez, for now." As the two of them are, generally speaking, on the west side of the planet, Sidra stands to the very east. He thinks to himself that the only reason he lets them use him as a target is to show off how fast he is and how powerful his shield is. As one of the arrows makes its approach, he's able to dodge at the last moment. Judging by its key, that had to be one of Liquor's. And just as he thinks this is getting boring, a loud crack echoes between his ears. As Helez is able to make contact with hers. It was so accurate, it didn't even hit, let alone destroy anything in its path. Sidra himself didn't even notice it coming. And it was so strong, it cracked his shield, one of the most resilient among the gods. Nearby, it looks like Rumshi and Moscow, or Mule depending on your preference, challenge each other in a sumo match. And enjoying a glass, Iwan chats with Jin and Arak. He tells him that it's been nearly 1,000,000 years since his last haircut. What do they think of it? However, their body language alone tells us it's nothing good. Then we find Beerus, who's screaming at Quitella that this time he's going to win, who replies that he doesn't think so, as they're in the middle of a fierce arm wrestling competition. In the back, Belmont calls dibs on Quitella next, or rather, correcting himself, he has dibs on the wink-wink winner. Not taking kindly to this insult, Beerus sneers for Belmont to shut up. He's got this. As the match rages on. On second thought, the clown god kind of hopes the two just keep struggling. He's a little tired today. Something very specific garners their attention. A voice remarks, "Geez, Miss Vados really left in a hurry." The newest member of the God of Destruction family has arrived. Like before, he wonders what the heck he even does here. When he notices all the destroyers glaring into his soul, much like they did before. Seems like these guys still really don't like him. Running over to the face he knows better than the others, he happily greets Beerus, chiming "Long time no see," sheepishly pleading with him if he could help get everyone to lighten up a little. Though he only scolds Goku to go away, he's embarrassing him in front of everyone, causing Quitella to scoff that by the way he's talking, Beerus seems to think he's popular around here. As the various gods murmur about their disapproval of Goku, whether it's simply because he's a newcomer, or the misunderstood drama he caused in starting the Tournament of Power. He tries to get everyone to calm down. He didn't even choose to be a destroyer in the first place. They were all there. Zeno forced this upon him. Rumshi scoffs at this claim, like he's just been licking Lord Zeno's boots for no reason. Though with a softer heart, Iwan does his best to take Goku's side. What's in the past is in the past. They're all friends here. Goku's one of them now, so they should all try to get along. Pelez agrees. She, for one, is merely grateful to have a handsome man here for a change. These meetings are usually a horror show. Sidra continues with his charge for unity. He insists that they all stop this hostility at once and get off on the right foot. They must offer their newest colleague a warm welcome. Quintella agrees with the previous three, though he's not so sure about the handsome remark. But given events prior, he doesn't much care for this Goku character, even going as far to call him an idiot. But he can't stand the cowardice of teaming up with some of these other gods just to bully him. Here's tapping his nose at the idiot comment. But this only causes Goku to narrow his eyes, asking, "You know what? I was getting pretty tired of only training and not having a real fight. So how about Quintella, bring it on?" Who shouts for the rookie not to be so arrogant. Before they can begin, a blinding light fires through the clouds. Goku questions Beerus if he feels that too. And he does. Whoever they are very powerful. Revealing PIKKON as the dust clears. He bellows out to the gods of destruction that he needs to speak with them immediately. As they all stand in attention, PIKKON turns his gaze onto our hero, uttering, You are the Saiyan, Son Goku, am I right?" Calling out Goku in particular, what could the leader of the Celestial Guardians have in store for the newest god of destruction? Is his presence here related to the Grand Priest contacting Whis and Vados? Likely all the angels. Or does he have a score to settle?